the statute's so written in favor of the taverns that these cases, that the plaintiffs always lose these cases. And then another one chimed in and he said, I don't see them at all, because insurance companies won't even write insurance policies for taverns in Indiana anymore. So the taverns go uninsured, and if something like this happens, the tavern just goes out of business. So there's just some of the sort of practical day-to-day aspects of all of this, at least in our state. One of the things that you did notice, and this is the last thing I'll say about Indiana, is that almost all of the cases here are Court of Appeals decisions. And it would be useful to know, I think, for purposes of argument, whether the losers in those cases sought Supreme Court review or not, and if so, what happened in that case. I looked that up myself because I'm always interested in that. When somebody cites a Court of Appeals case to me in a subsequent case, I sort of want to know, did I see this case, or did one of my predecessors see this case? And in point of fact, the losers in Fast Eddie's did seek review, and we turned it down, but in Jackson versus Gore, the losers did not seek review. It doesn't tell you very much, but it might, in the clinches, give you a little bit of an argument that you didn't have. As to a couple of more general points, in our court at least, I like to think of oral argument as being an opportunity to have a conversation with the lawyers. And I thought each of you were quite good. Mr. Walton, maybe you were the least conversational of the four, but you were being subjected to the most withering fire, and plus we went over about 15 minutes on you too, so you can be forgiven for that. But really the reason we have you in is that we feel there's something about the case that we can't resolve from the paper that we want to talk to you about. And the more you think of this as a conversation, I think the more effective you can be in your advocacy, recognizing that first-year law students standing in front of 9 judges, I thought you were incredibly conversational given the circumstances under which you were under. I also think it's very important in your arguments to sort of to be strategic. Try to figure out how, and almost impossible for you to do that in this kind of environment, but sometimes you can come in and know something about where the judge is coming from and trying to figure out how to turn that to your advantage. I remember hearing a lawyer who argues cases at the U.S. Supreme Court frequently talking about what he called the Scalia problem. You almost always know, he said, where Justice Scalia is on your case when you go in, and you also know that he's going to ask you the most questions. And so you've got to, but since you probably know where he is, he's probably not the one you have to persuade. And so you've got to figure out a way how to answer his questions as quickly as you can, and then get to the questions of the justices that you want to persuade. And so it's this sort of the strategy of oral argument. And Mr. Walsh, on my really off-the-wall sort of recusal question, I thought you were going to start down the path that, and then you maybe took something a little bit safer. But I thought you started to say, well, legislative intent is important, but, and then I thought what you were going to say is, but really, Your Honor, whatever the intent is, if the plain language of the statute is clear, that's what the court goes with. And it seems to me the plain language of the statute here is clearly supports our position, and so your personal views of what the legislative intent here really wouldn't be controlling here, something like that. But you gave a perfectly good response. It is sort of a tricky question, though, for judges who have lives before coming to the bench and may know something about legislation or something like that and what to do. It's one of these sort of imponderable questions that we face. And just the last thing that I would say is that this argument was, in my experience, having judged moot court competitions now for a decade and a half, unique in that we were sitting as a trial court en banc. Every other moot court competition that I've participated in, the judges panels were sitting as a panel of a court of last resort. And in that circumstance, you're free to ask the court to change the law. And I think that would have been a friendlier environment for the plaintiffs here, where they could have asked for, particularly with just all this Court of Appeals authority, you could have asked the Supreme Court of Indiana to change whatever actual means, to change how much intentional conduct is necessary to cut off liability and the like. You didn't really have that option here, but maybe something, I guess the point I make is that what you're free to argue will differ a little bit from the level of the court that you're arguing to. That's all I have to say. I don't know if does our bailiff have the results?
Carter does.
Yes, though. All right, a couple more things to do first. There we go. For those of you who don't know, I'm Jana Carter. I'm the Moot Court Tournament Coordinator. And really quick, before we do get to the announcements, we just want to make sure that we thank the judges once again for coming out and taking their time on a Saturday to come out. So if we could just show them our appreciation. We appreciate your time on a Saturday especially, so thank you very much. I'm just going to quickly introduce some board members. You guys will just give us a second. This is our only time that we get to shine, so we're going to take it while we can have it. Like I said, I'm the tournament coordinator, but Dietrich Moore is our chairman of the board. Brandon Osterrein had to leave, but he's the vice chairman. Sarah Pope was in charge of hospitality, and none of you guys got to see that, but for all the judges and all of that who have been here throughout the weeks and throughout the lunch today, Sarah Pope is in charge of getting all the food together, and she's done an amazing job, as she always does. Derek Bush is Director of External Relations, and Mr. Story is Business Manager, and I think that's it as far as board members go. But if you're a board member, we just stand up really quick so that I can personally thank you and that we can thank you. All associates and everything. Yeah, all. Really quick before I turn the microphone over to Dietrich for just a second, we just want to explain how these four competitors have gotten here today. For those of you who don't know, I know that most of you are 1Ls, but for the ones that aren't, they actually had to write a brief for their 1L class that was turned in a brief. They were given a certain side, plaintiff or defendant, and they had to write a brief on both issues. But then they were assigned a specific, they got to stay with their party, but assigned a specific knowledge, actual knowledge, or proximate cause, thank you, side that they had to do. Tuesday, they all competed, every 1L competed based on what we call on brief, on topic. So they all got to know what they were doing and were really experiencing it. And Thursday, we kind of threw them for a little bit of a loop. I mean, they knew it was coming, but they had switch parties. They got to keep their same subject, but switch parties. And then we went to the semifinal rounds Friday afternoon, where it was seating, and seating got to choose what they want to do. So some people were off brief, off topic, or some people were on brief, and it just sort of mattered where you placed during the preliminary round. So and then those people had an hour to prepare again for a next round right after that, and they could have been off brief, off topic again. So these guys have come through a lot to get here. I think you guys are amazing. I was sitting here telling Elaine, I was like, I do not envy them at all in their decision to judge between the four of them. I thought you guys were amazing, and we look forward to having you next year. I guess not me, but the rest of the board looks forward to having you guys compete and all of that. So for all the 1Ls, congratulations for what you've done this week. You guys did a great job. We've had nothing but amazing comments from the judges. So congratulations to all of you, and I'm going to give you a hand, and I'm going to hand it over to Dietrich. So. Dietrich Moore, one more time, our chairman. Sorry, this is what we have to do. It's going to drag it out a little longer. She's going to do some stuff for the judges real quick.
As Jen has already said, we are very appreciative for our judges who have come and spent their time with us today. The Moot Court Board is responsible for 2 tournaments each year. In the fall, we're responsible for the 2L, 3L tournament, and then in the spring, the 1L tournament. And as we impanel our final round judges, everyone is always just impressed, and we as well are grateful for this esteemed panel of justices that we were able to assemble today. So again, if you could just give them one round of applause again. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. We also have just a very small token of our appreciation on behalf of the Moot Court Board and the Liberty University School of Law to, again, just thank you for your time and for helping us with our program. And I will introduce them, starting with our seating Chief Justice, the Honorable Frank Sullivan, Jr. from the Indiana Supreme Court. From the U.S. District Court in the Western District of Virginia, we have the Honorable Norman Moon. The Honorable James C. Turk, also from the U.S. District Court in the Western District of Virginia. The Honorable William Alexander II in the Circuit Court for Pennsylvania County. The Honorable Michael Gamble from the Circuit Court for Amherst County. The Honorable Mosby Garland Perro III, the Circuit Court for the City of Lynchburg. The Honorable Edwin Burnett, sitting in Lynchburg General District Court. The Honorable Kenneth Farrer in the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court in Nelson County. And the Honorable F. Patrick Yates, Campbell County General District Court. Again, gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Okay, I won't make you wait any longer. This is it, I promise. And I have had a request from one of the competitors that I announced the runner-up before the champion this time, so I will do that as well. But first, the finalist. And once again, you guys have done such a great job. I was very, very, very impressed as well, and that's really hard, really honestly, to do, to impress me. So you guys did a great job, really. It's true. All right, our first finalist today is Miss Amanda Babbitt. The second finalist today is Mr. Jordan Van Meter. And I guess by announcing the runner-up, you know the champion, but I'm going to announce his name in a minute anyways. So the runner-up for our 1L tournament this year is